Alexa, let's get it. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everybody. Arm day, and as the title of the video suggests, I want to start playing around with some different workouts and having some fun with some stuff. My arm workouts are getting a little stale, a little boring for me. Not really feeling them, not getting into them, so I'm going to start picking off some pros and see what their workouts look like and see what's going on. So looked up best pro bodybuilder arm workouts and at least modern guys, like guys that are training today. So, and by the way, my man. So Hunter Labrada came up and I looked at the workout and I said, all right, well, this seems eloquent, easy enough to do in my home gym, so I'm excited about that without too much movement around and all the rest. And very hyper focused, so I'm kind of curious of what that looks like from that perspective as well, and kind of the feel. But seems again, I'm kind of playing around with the sets and rep range only because there's not a ton of instruction on it, but I'll put the link to that video below. Obviously, I mean, look, he's a professional bodybuilder, so we don't look the same. But kind of want to play around with the weights, the volume, and see what that looks like, see what that's all about, and kind of take it from there. So let's get fucking to it. All right, so let's get to it. Got a lot of fun shit going on with this workout. Excited to try somebody else's workout that they've seen success with. This workout came out, I guess, a couple months ago. I just Googled or YouTubed pro arm workouts, and this was one of them that kind of popped up on the screen, and I said, Hunter Labrada, why not? Let's see, the guy's got some pretty gigantic arms, and very well defined, even, balanced, the whole thing. So I'm excited to try it. Now, with that said, and kind of want to be transparent here, I reviewed probably about 10-15 minutes of the workout, started skimming through the video just to get an understanding of the exercises. I was pretty shocked to find out it's really just 2 movements per bicep, 2 movements per tricep, which I guess is par for the course when you get to that kind of development and size. I don't think I'm overtraining my arms when I train arms, but at the end of the day, I'm always open to trying something new and experimenting with the workout. So the form that he brought to the table was definitely something that I was intrigued by, very similarly to like how Nick Walker trains, or a couple other guys that do progressive load, but also are extremely diligent with their form and function, and squeezing muscles and ensuring that everything is really being hit appropriately, and big stretches, and so I'm excited about it. I really wish I got to the end of the video, his video, which there will be a link below to it, to understand a little bit more about working sets versus warm-up sets for his specific workout, because again, I was not really listening to a lot of it, as I was just really understanding what the exercises were, so I could just mimic that and get through the workout. I would have started heavier there. Seeing them start at 30 pounds, I was like, all right, well, this is going to be crazy concentrated or something like that. So I started at 20, thinking, there's going to be progressive movement and all the rest, and this working set versus warm-up set versus whatever. Look, that's not my jive. I know a lot of guys out there, talk about working sets versus warm-up sets. I think once your bicep is warm, your tricep is warm, everything past that should be working. And again, this is a contradiction to what they may be looking at. And I think that's the unique and interesting thing about bodybuilding. There are a million ways to skin this cat, and it really all works differently for everybody's body and reaction, and their workout routines, their the body structure, where they are in the stage of, exercising or getting ready for prep, or, in an off season versus, prep season versus cutting versus whatever. So, again, not only do you have all of those variables, but then you also have the idea of what people's bodies react to. So my piece to this was to concentrate as much on filling my bicep with as much blood, filling my tricep with as much blood, and ensuring that I'm getting as much resistance through every single rep I'm doing, which is why this is a slower arm workout, right? Despite it being only 4 exercises, it still took me quite some time to deal with, because again, like, this form is picture perfect to what he was requesting out of all of his followers and subscribers, was having a really big stretch at the bottom, never releasing the arm fully and getting away from having no stress on the bicep, and then coming up into that V fashion where you are just at the concentration at the top. So you're getting really that really good contraction at the top. So you're never alleviating pressure from the bicep. Yeah, I'm giving a thumbs up to the idea that the work is being done, and I'm certainly feeling it. So, and when I get to taking my hoodie off, I want to explain a little bit more about some of the little tips and tricks that he touched on, but I think there could be a little bit more, especially for some beginners out there looking at how to properly get into position and do what you need to do. I want you guys to see stuff. So and I think, what's nice about these dumbbells is that I can progressively move up without making just 5-pound jumps. I can make 2.5-pound jumps, which is nice, especially as I'm kind of feeling my way through someone else's workout. So the idea that, I start at 20 pounds and then I can go to 22.5, then go to 25. From there, it then jumps to 30, and then it's 5-pound increments from there. So 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and then ends at 52.5, which I don't get to. I think I stop at 30 or 35, but the idea is there, right? That I'm progressively moving up, and I would do this workout again, and I'll recap that at the end. But I think I would change some weights, and I think I would change not necessarily the structure to the workout. I do find it interesting starting off with biceps rather than triceps, because the tricep, your tricep is a bigger piece to the arm. But again, I want to understand it. So, and again, by the end of the workout, I was pumped as fuck. So everything was really working how it should have been working, right? So that's what matters. And I'll put the video, down below. I'm sure I've mentioned that already, but I'll put the link to the video. Not that I have any clout as anybody, but if you guys want to see the original workout, feel free to do so. He and his workout partner. But so I'll stop here for a second just so you guys can understand. You'll see me lean back a little bit. You'll see me understanding getting in the correct position here. That's going to be vitally important during this whole exercise. He's standing. I want to stand. I don't think sitting was going to be an appropriate piece to this. I don't think sitting really almost ever is on this. That's where you can overstrain your arm and get into an awkward position. But where I want my center of gravity is like from the back of my neck straight down to my left foot. So there's a center line you can draw, which is why I'll shift my feet from back to front to make that center line. The idea there is to create the leverage and balance between having this weight pull you down and pull you forward. And then obviously, as you're coming up, you're not pulling your body back. So you want to stabilize the body as much as possible. So only the bicep is being worked during this exercise, nothing else. So disengaging your shoulder, disengaging, any part of your trap or neck movement. I'm not rotating my wrist, which I would do in some point in time. I would rotate my wrist. They didn't do that during their workout. So I wasn't about to. But the center point, again, back of my neck, straight down to now the dominant foot is the right foot leaning forward. So creating that balance is going to ensure you have the bicep really being targeted there and only the bicep. So if you drew a line from like the back of my head, right? So here I am trying to get into position or better position. Back of my neck, like right, not at the, around the base of my skull, straight down. So let's use the back of my headphones. You guys can see that. If you drew a line just down the screen, that should be able to hit where my foot is, where my dominant foot is, my left foot at this point. So I'm stable, and then you'll see shoulder gets disengaged to as much as it possibly can, and you're really only working the bicep. What I also found to be interesting here is starting off with a preacher curl is not I expected some sort of concentration to start with, whether that be, a hanging, when you're stabilizing your body on a bench. I think putting your bicep, if you're not in the right position with this and starting with this before you really get an appropriate amount of blood flow and getting the joints warmed up and everything, puts a little bit of stress on things, which, look, it's putting a maximum amount of stress on my bicep, which is great. It's not a mass building exercise. In my opinion, I tend to look at this as almost a finishing exercise. So starting with this was interesting, right? So being able to look and kind of reverse the role that I'll normally start with some sort of concentration with pulley or something like that, just to get blood flow going. And pulley for me is always a predominant thing just to ensure blood flow without putting myself at risk. And of course, maximum tension, which the rest of this workout is pulley, which I found really great. I was excited about all of that because I'm a huge fan of pulleys with arms. So, and we go to the pulley, but I started this off way incorrectly. I had to go back, and I'm listening to a lot of what's happening on the workout in my headset. I have the video running off my phone, and I'm listening to commentary, and that's where I'm kind of catching, toward the end of the workout, more of what I should be doing. This setup is incorrect, and I will show you the correct setup on the next set, which again, I was kind of fucking around with sets. I would do 4 or 5 sets. I was fucking around with rep range, anywhere between 10 to 15 reps, and then really more at the end of the video, because I'm not sitting there rep counting these guys as workouts. I want to be told, like, hey, do this 10, 12, 15, 20, 8, 6, whatever it is. That's the benefit of having a coach is, he's like, no, all right, get 8. You take it from there. Not having that kind of count is, little, I don't know. But here's the correct and appropriate setup, right? So where the resistance is coming from left to right and right to left, the only challenge, and this isn't necessarily an exercise challenge, this I think is an equipment challenge of how my pulley structure is set up here with the double balls and everything. They were really getting in the way as I was doing this. Now, I understood where the point of tension was coming from and angling out as my hand is going toward the base of the pull and then pulling down, definitely getting all 3 heads of the tricep effectively hit, as you guys can see, right? So, but I was having a difficult time with body positioning. I didn't get the arc in my lower back that I would want to, my chest out. I felt a little isolated here, and not at jeopardy of anything, of course, but it just didn't feel as comfortable as I felt like even just doing the first exercise where I came straight down from the top. Coming from the sides here, I think I just needed a different pulley structure, like more of a standard professional gym, pulley structure, and that would have made it a little better. The free motion makes a few of these pieces of equipment and stuff like that. So I think that probably would have been a little bit better for me to accomplish this exercise. So So yeah, see, I'm like going back and forth, I'm leaning, I'm moving around, trying to figure it out. Doesn't take away from the work I'm doing on the tricep, though. I'll tell you that. You know, everything's really getting pumped up, really getting max amount of blood flow. I'm playing with the weights, not really heavy. I think I should be able to go heavier on something like this, but the form and function was really more of the important piece to me rather than the load at this point. Again, time under tension for me is always a big deal, so I don't really care. Especially learning new workout routines, not new exercises. I've done this before at professional gyms, which, it made more sense to do so there because the equipment's set up for that. Here, a little different at my home gym, but still as effective. So, but yeah, watch. Like I'm just moving around trying to make sure that I'm not engaging other things like my chest, which is pretty easy to engage, or even my shoulders, which is really easy to engage with this. I'm also focusing on tightening my core because he was making notes of that during every single exercise he was doing. So yeah, now I'm feeling a little bit more confident that I think I've got the positioning down, so I'm going to move up in weight. But still, for me, again, just from the equipment, awkward positioning, right? Nothing more, nothing less. It was just the equipment piece. The exercise itself, I've done this. It's very effective, and I think it's really wonderful, especially where your arms come up to parallel to the floor, and then pressing away from yourself. You guys have seen me do more than enough pulley exercises. I don't know. I don't think I needed to do it here like this. I could have just done one at a time, and that probably would have been just as effective. It just would have taken a little longer, but also I think would have given me a little bit better of a balancing act between the right and the left. And then we're getting set up for pulley bicep curls, which again, big fan of these too, right? I use these as a finisher for a lot of my workouts as well, so always excited about, again, you know, arms and pulleys, or pulleys with arms, is never a bad way to go. I think it's probably one of the better pieces of equipment. But I watched his form on this, and he spoke so much about the form on doing these correctly. I watched the video, I went back, I watched this segment a couple of times before I initiated this because his form was picture perfect, and I wanted to mimic this. So if you go to his video, which will be below, and this video, we match up very effectively. You're getting a maximum stretch at the bottom where you still have a little bit of room to breathe, and you're still keeping as much tension on the bicep as possible, which I think this is great for the lower part of the bicep, or where the insertion point is at the elbow. And then coming up just a touch higher than parallel to the ground and concentrating on squeezing the bicep. As you can see, again, it's effective and it's fucking working. So that's the important piece to this. Forget the weight as you are looking at maximizing form and looking at the function of what this exercise looks like. I am moving up as I get more comfortable, of course. And this is where I also, listened a little bit further ahead to the video and found that, 2 warm-up sets, 2 working sets. I enjoyed the idea that they kept saying legacy reps. I thought that was fantastic. It's a really great term because that's, and David Goggins says, you're only doing the work when it starts hurting. Like right after it starts hurting, that's where those reps count, right? So the idea that, they're calling them legacy reps, I think is fantastic. Which, look, Hunter Labrada is a legacy bodybuilder, right? I believe his dad's Lee Labrada, which Lee was, conditioning like a motherfucker. So And it doesn't seem as if Hunter's off on his conditioning ever either. So, never a bad thing, especially, top 4 Olympia contender. So never, swaying the body, moving out. I liked one of the tips that he had given. He's like, look, you really only need to be a foot or two ahead of where the pulleys are ending at the stretch, while you're still keeping that concentration on the stretch and the pull. You don't need to come out 5-6 feet. So I was very conscious of that when he was talking about that. Also tightening and stabilizing the core, lower back, abs, really engaging all of that so you are staying as stable as possible. But you'll see as I'm bringing the load up, getting more struggle, but the form is exactly the same. So this is a really, if I don't say so myself, this is a really picture perfect pulley curl. This is what they should look like, and kudos to Hunter Labrada, obviously, for explaining this extremely well to the general public. So I hope, me doubling down on this for you guys is just reassuring you that this is the way to do these. As the load is getting heavier, my shoulders are engaging a little bit more, but those last 1 or 2 reps, those legacy reps, and I love that, look, you're doing pulley curls, and the partners on the video are just, Hunter Labrada's partner. I keep wanting to say Lee because that's my generation, but Hunter Labrada, partner and each other, they're just yelling at each other the whole entire time, and they're doing pulley curls, right? So it's not really, I found that to be humorous, but a little jarring, but I understood it. I get it, because even at the end of this, I'm smoked. So these are those legacy reps that are coming out because I'm barely able to get it up to the position, but this is where all the work is happening. Look, watching his video again, the last couple of reps didn't look as great as the first few, so I felt like I was in good company there. And then finishing with this tricep motion, I felt was, again, look, the idea that the upper arm is the focal point of where you want, what we're working, right? But that is staying completely fixed during just about everything, right? Or it is staying completely fixed with everything. The upper arm has no motion to it whatsoever between the shoulder and the elbow. Now, from the elbow to the wrist and the elbow to the hand, that's where the motion counts. So this was getting your arms completely parallel to the ground and extending forward. I'm pretty much, I'm right there to lock out. So I'm getting a really, really good contraction as I'm pressing forward. I'm almost at 100% lockout, but not putting the stress or the pressure on the elbow. So this felt great, and I'm starting to really work the stack up on something like this. I would have liked the piece of equipment they were on, which again was professional gym, right? So I could do this workout again over at Powerhouse. But the idea that they were leaning against the bar that they had behind them and could stabilize themselves there, rather than using what I'm doing here is, using my legs, using my core, glutes and feet and everything just to really stabilize myself. Leaning against something really would have been better. I wouldn't have had as much sway in my body, but if you see the design of this, the actual pulley itself is coming straight down the front of that, so I can't lean against it or I'm just going to be applying a pressure to it because I'm trapping the pulley between it and the brace. So and then I'm also playing with camera angles so you guys can see the effectiveness of what's going on. Not necessarily camera angles, but moving my body around so you guys can understand what this looks like from an angle or two different. And we're going to do one more set of this, and that's the end of the workout, right? So I found that despite the shortness of it, some of the differences between where I start and where I finish versus where he starts and where he finishes, I felt to be certainly eye-opening, really stressing the bicep out in the beginning with the preacher and then moving into a pulley curl after that. And that's really it, 2 exercises and you're done. I felt a little imbalanced with only 2 exercises for the tricep, but certainly had all the concentration I needed. So overall, good workout. I'd give it a 7 out of 10 if I was scoring things. Maybe even a 6 out of 10. I'm going to look at Nick Walker's arm workout, and that's something I want you guys to do. Is that, again, those guys don't need any clout from me. I don't have any to give, but like, subscribe, share, comment, do all that fun stuff as we kind of go through, so I can at least gauge what you guys want to see. But for the time being, I'll let this other guy talk as I finish off this last rep. What's up, gang? I'll go ahead and fix that. That's better. I'm still listening to the workout. I've been pausing and listening to everything that Hunter and his partner were talking about. Found rep range out, further along in the video, found working sets out further along in the video, but essentially it's a very effective arm workout. I loved the simplicity of it. I liked the slow motion in the ocean kind of situation that he had going on, with really focusing on form, really focusing on that stretch, and then of course the contraction at the end. Everything was really spot on with that workout. So and I'm feeling, the interesting part of starting with like the preacher curl, especially the single arm dumbbell, which I liked all of it up until the end with the press downs. The only thing I didn't like about the press downs, because everything else was individualized, right? So you had your pulley structures, your dumbbells, all of those kind of individualized left to right. I talk a lot about unilateral movement. The end I could feel, because of just exhaustion, my right tricep really taking over on the overhead, or the quasi-cantilevered overhead tricep extension. But at the end of the day, everything's very pumped. Everything feels very tight. I'm already starting to cramp a little bit, so I'm going to get a little bit more water in. Take my branch chains and get my protein shake in before I get on going with my day. So, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. But comment on some bodybuilders that you guys look up to and watch. I'm going to kind of look at the top 5 contenders from last year and kind of go down different workouts with these guys and see what they're up to, especially some really great body parts they have. Hunter Labrada has some really fantastic arms, so I was really excited. And look, a lot of these guys have really amazing arms. So following those workouts seems a little more conducive. Some of these guys have freaky body parts and are unbelievably strong and resilient to a lot of what they can do now. So some of their workouts are quite extensive. Others are like this, short and sweet to the fucking point. So till next time, guys, see you back in the gym.